Thanks for joining us on Key Factors, presented by theraceguide.com.au. Stu, Rich and Michael here to take you through another bumper leg of a few legs of the Quaddie this weekend at Randwick. But before we get to that, bit of Caulfield Cup action in Melbourne, and we were down there last week. Great weekend.
Yeah, it was a fantastic day last Saturday. Caulfield Cup day this Saturday. Lots of good overseas horses to keep an eye on, but we're concentrating on Randwick. 4 black-type races for the Quaddie, so still good racing at Randwick.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day out there, and really fair racing too is probably the biggest thing coming out of Randwick and Caulfield this week and the last week and the one before, and that's what we can expect again this week.
Yeah, the bookies have been smashed in Sydney and Melbourne the last couple of weeks, haven't they? Let it continue for the Spring Carnival. Let's look at the race conditions for the first leg of the Quaddie. To get started with this detailed analysis, we always look at the race conditions first before looking at the key factors based on those conditions. For the feature race on Saturday, it's a listed event over 2,400 metres. Only a small field, which is quite disappointing, unlike the Caulfield Cup, which could lead to a steady tempo. Good 3 we're hoping on Saturday as well, and hopefully a fair bias as well. The track's been pretty dry the last couple of weeks. So across the 3 key factors for the 2,400 metre feature on Saturday, distance has to be a key factor, doesn't it? This long distance race. Sprint, even though they're stayers, we're looking for a horse that has a turn of foot in this race on Saturday because of that steady tempo, and weight as well. It suits the classier types in this race. There's a bit of a weight squeeze down the bottom.
Well, look, none of these are up to a Caulfield Cup run, being stayers, but there is a little form line here. My Lucky Day came through this race in 2010, I think it was, went down to the Lexus, won that, then went on to run second in the Melbourne Cup. So could there be a little dream here?
Yeah, that would be a fantastic story, wouldn't it, to see that happen again? But yeah, the usual suspects from a staying perspective here, so maybe not this time.
And Janoob is one of those usual suspects. And look, he's on top of the market here, the grinding Janoob, but we've got to go back. Well, it is another year for him to see when he last won a race. I think it was in the Ballarat Cup last year. But look, he's there at $3.80 on top. We've got Allegoria and Sense of Occasion in behind, $4 and $4.60 there, coming in with similar form lines. A little bit of money for Cape Crusader, I think as much as $6 into $5 there. A hint of gay timing with excess knowledge this time of year as well, and a bit of money there for Murphy's Delight as well. 13 into $9.50 on the quick backup, Mike.
Yeah, he was on the quick backup, wasn't he? We're not going to look at him. He was a pretty good run in lower grade last week. Let's look at some of the classier types, the 2,400 metre types, with form that tie in through each other. Let's look at the Newcastle Gold Cup from a couple of starts ago for a couple of reasons. It's a similar distance, but we get to see a bit of a turn of foot factor here. Janoob's the one in the green sleeves and the white, taking a while to wind up. In a Sense of Occasion, the black widest. He got a bit of a start on him, Stu, didn't he?
Yeah, look, he ranged up right outside Janoob here, and you thought he was going to finish better, but it's about here that Janoob really picks up, and for once it was, it was him really hitting the line well there, and was he entitled to do better, the one on the outside?
Well, we love Janoob in the team because he's a horse that's easy to profile. Low turn of foot, high surge, and he smashes the line there.
Absolutely smashed the line there, and that's an interesting lead up to the next one because it is Janoob again. We're going back a few weeks at Rose Hill, and a really interesting race this one. Only a small field, but it was Allegoria taking off at the 800 metre mark, which we haven't seen in the replay so far.
Well, yeah, this was a tactical race as well, a small field. Allegoria was the one that took the initiative and set off a long way from home, maybe too far from home. She's one of the white cap that sort of got to the lead. Janoob, once again, took a while to warm up. But because she took off so early from home, he had the opportunity to warm up, and he was pretty good to the line again, wasn't he?
Yeah, did one thing that he does well, and that's he's kept grinding to the line.
And that's Allergic winning, who had form lines through the Group 1, which obviously Janoob ran in next start with Sense of Occasion, so those form lines all tie in.
Well, form lines are tying in, and I'm assuming too that a lot of these horses are going to be at their peak, so we're probably looking for an even spread across the gold bars and the key factors.
Well, yeah, lots of gold there, isn't there? From a distance perspective, they're the horses we think will stay the 2,400 metres. We've seen them, most of them there before. Cape Crusader, look, he's a leader, stepping up to 2,400 metres. Excess knowledge for the Gay Waterhouse stable did it before, but it's not as easy for a leader to do this, so he's a bit of a risk to 2,400 metres. From a sprint perspective, if they don't sprint early, it's a big risk for Janoob. He takes a long time to warm up. And from a weight perspective, Allegoria maybe just a kilo or two outside where she should be on Saturday.
Well, the market said there were 4 key chances in the race, and having a look at the overall key factor ratings, it's an interesting one because what we're going to see here is a little bit of a reshuffle. I can see Sense of Occasion on top there, and that was the third favourite, but Janoob right there as he always is.
Well, there's only a couple of decisions you've got to make in this race. Firstly, on whether you like Cape Crusader or not to stay the distance. So we've got him as 4th top rated, so we're going a little bit against him. And then you've got to decide between the other 3, which one you like on top. We're going for Sense of Occasion. He beat home Janoob in the Group 1 recently. Those form references might show up in the Caulfield Cup, so Sense of Occasion is the best bet for us. And for the value bet, let's see if Cape Crusader does knock up and put a trifecta in. Sense of Occasion to win from Janoob and Allegoria, 2nd and 3rd.
There we go, a little bit of value to start the Quaddie play for the weekend. And as we look ahead to race 2 of the Quaddie, it's the Brian Crowley over the 1,200 metres. And one here, we've got Winx's half-brother here in El Divino. And I guess a few questions are raising here is, has the bubble burst? And we've got another one there, Guard of Honour, really untapped as well, coming into the race.
This is a cracking race. There's a few really good betting races on Saturday. This is one of them. Form lines from everywhere. Very lightly raced 3-year-olds. Lots with scope to improve. Listed 1,200 metres. hopefully a fair tempo and bias, and hopefully a good track as well. So hopefully the best horse wins on Saturday. Across to the three key factors, look, you're still going to need some position in run luck. Getting the right position on Saturday matters. Jockey's really interesting all day on Saturday because the better jockeys are down in Melbourne. We'll factor that in. And weight, it's a set weights event, so the classier types are always suited, like we always say.
Well, the classier type in CANA Attack won this race last year, so a Coolmore start could await the winner, but a really open race for the punters to get their odds around, and potentially a bit of money for the few of the outsiders here as well. But punters have kept their faith in the listed Heritage Stakes Quinella. We've got Guard of Honour there at $5 and Hair Trigger at $5, and Hair Trigger was the one chasing home Guard of Honour last start. El Divino, Winks' half-brother there at $6, and SOUCHEZ fresh there at $7. Super Maxi's one that's come in the market there at $7. So really competitive at the top.
Yeah, you mentioned that Heritage Stakes, and let's look at those horses now and work out which ones we think are the best. And the Heritage Stakes has to be the place to start because three of the horses actually trifected that race. Two of them you mentioned before, Stu. This was a fantastic finish, a really close finish. Guard of Honour's in the sort of the light blue sash, or the checks just coming to the outside, the chestnut with the white nose. Flash Fibian coming down the outside with the yellow sleeves. And Hair Trigger always there as well, in the yellow and black checks, Stu.
Yeah, well, Guard of Honour here really had a great run, didn't it? Just stalked the leaders, but I think it was Hair Trigger here that caught my eye. I mean, that was 3 wide with no cover and really sticks on late to the line.
Yeah, all three runs had merit in them. There was a strong tempo and off-rails bias, so it kind of helped Flash Fibian there, but Flash Fibian came out next start and got absolutely flogged by Astern, which is a bit of a worry for that form line.
Yeah, well, look, Astern's not in this race, but we're going to go back to a race that did involve Astern, and it's back to the Run to the Rose, where El Divino, well, as we said, it's got some top 3-year-olds, had some top 3-year-olds around him here, went to the lead this day, and like we said, stuck on solidly, but Astern and Starturn did the rest.
Well, yeah, people are saying, has the bubble burst with El Divino? He's here in the white with the yellow. I mean, this is a really good race, isn't it? It's a 1,200-metre Group 2 Run to the Rose. These are some of the best Group 1 3-year-olds going around, and despite the fact that people were a little bit disappointed in this run, he's alongside Impending, who went on to win a Group 2 a couple of starts later, and he's right there, isn't he?
Yeah, look, absolutely. That's Golden Rose form all around that horse, and a few people are going to be keen to be on that this weekend for sure. But having a look at the key factor ratings here, I think El Divino, a bit of gold across the page here, and it's got to be right up there in the ratings as well.
Yeah, 3 gold bars for El Divino. Guard of Honour for position and run. He's drawn wide, a bit of a risk for him. Jockey, I mean, Christian Reith's just not riding winners lately in Sydney, which is a bit of a risk as well. Ty England on El Divino, his stats recently are through the roof. He's going really, really well. And from a weight perspective, SOUCHEZ and El Divino, they look like they've got a lot of weight. They're actually quite well weighted based on their class, and the fillies are quite well weighted too. Well,
look, we've got Super Maxi here. The one that I can see straight away down in the ratings there is actually above Guard of Honour. So we've got to take us through that one, Mike. We can see El Divino on top there to be due to the gold bars, but take us through that set.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Guard of Honour down there, but because of that form line, because Guard of Honour's drawn wide, and because he loses Hugh Bowman, I mean, it's hard to be positive on him. He's a really good horse with only 3 starts under his belt, but it's hard to be positive on him. Easy to be positive in El Divino. He's got that Group 2 form line. He's only a couple of lengths off the better 3-year-olds going around. So El Divino is the best bet for us. He's easily the best bet, we think. He's very strong on pace and draws a perfect barrier. And from a value bet, let's go against the favourite in the market. Let's go for a wide trifecta. SOUCHEZ and El Divino, along with those fillies down the bottom. They're all really tough and they will run well, those fillies.
Going against the first 2 favourites in the first 2 legs of the Quaddie. That's our stance on it for the first 2 legs, and we'll be back after the break for legs 3 and 4. Welcome back to Key Factors, presented by theraceguide.com.au. We're up to leg 3 of the Quaddie. It is a Navision, and Mike, I can remember being out there 1 year ago when Naeli, she just scraped in, but I think it was 7 horses finishing within a length of each other, and yeah, can we expect that again this week?
These mares races are always close. Funny you mentioned a year ago, it's actually a year to the day when we did our first Key Factor show, Stu. There's a stat for you. Straight across the conditions for this race, a Group 3 over 1,200 metres. Look, not too many leaders in this race, so we're predicting a steady tempo in this race despite the bigger field. Good 3 and a fair bias, hopefully. So across the 3 key factors, look, because of that steady tempo, finishing surge won't be so important in this race. You want a mare with early speed and a good turn of foot, a good sprint. And obviously, because of the steady tempo, you want a genuine sprinter on Saturday. Distance is a key factor for us.
Well, we said it could be a close finish, but the money might suggest otherwise. There's a big plunge horse here back in the start of the year, and it was Egyptian Symbol. It just missed. It came third, but punters are stepping right back in and saying she can get the job done, and really strong in the market here. 280, I think, in from 320. And then look right out to SAVOUREUX at $7. We've got Rule the River, a bit of money as well, $9.50 into $7. And then for 2, and then we've got Artistry, one of Snowden's good-looking types, I guess we could say. And then Nancy, probably one of his tougher types there at $11. So it's Egyptian symbol than the rest.
That was a massive plunge that day. I remember being out there that day. It was a huge plunge. Let's have a look at that race to see how well she went. It was first up last prep, so it's an appropriate start to look. Kimberley Stars in the red and the white, in the middle of the pack coming through. Egyptian symbol way out the back, widest just picking up now. A lot of money came for this day. It was called the Fireball Stakes. It's a good reason. They absolutely flew in front, didn't they, Stu?
Yeah, they did, and I guess they chose different paths here. We had Egyptian symbol keeping to the outside and Kimberley Star going back in, but look, they couldn't get near Edzell this day, and they did a good job to finish where they did.
Yeah, it's a better run than what I looked. Egyptian symbols sectionals just coming third there were almost similar to English on the same day, so that's great stats for her on that race.
And you mentioned same day. The next replay we're going to have a look at is back there as well on the same day, and we've got the jockey of SAVOUREUX here really thanking the jockey of Artistry, trailing him absolutely everywhere they went.
Yeah, Artistry, 3 wide, no cover first up. I think I backed her, so that was a bit of a tough run for her. She just looms up here. SAVOUREUX just coming to the outside, and she pounces, doesn't she, Stu?
Yeah, that's SAVOUREUX here in the red hat, just about to, well, really put it in now. And it's this sprint here from the 150 to about the 50 where she really put them away.
Yeah, she got the win there, but Artistry's run plenty of merit. That's Private Secretary storming home as well. A good run from her.
That was big, wasn't it? Well, the replays have shown, I guess, a few back markers here. And are there any more in the race that we need to be looking at?
Well, yeah, this early speed's a really big key factor for us. There's a few roughies off this page you can't see that could be the leaders, CANA, etc. But if you're looking for favourites that can go forward, Rule the River, Artistry, Nancy and One More Zeta, they can all take up a posse. Egyptian symbol can't usually take up a posse, but she's got the turn of foot and the sprint to get herself out of trouble. SAVOUREUX and Rule the River, a decent sprint as well. And both favourites love the distance too, Stu.
Yeah, well, look, the big question then is, are the ratings in line with all the money? And, well, that's what we're looking for. Nick Ashman just declared Egyptian symbol as his bet. And look at that. Wow, Egyptian symbol way on top. I hope the boys have had something on early, but describe to the viewers, how many lengths is that? 13 back to 10.5.
Well, yeah, based on the ratings, doesn't always work out that way, does it, Stu? But based on the ratings, it's meant to be a 2.5 length margin, and 2.5 length margin predicting with those odds means it's still a pretty good bet. So Egyptian symbol's the best bet for us. Like we said, she might be a bit of a worrying spot at the 600 metres, but hopefully she sprints from the 400 metres and crickets straight past them. If you're looking for a value bet, really hard to differentiate between them. The ratings are all quite similar. Let's go for Kimberley Star. She wasn't far behind her last time, was she?
No, not far behind, and we're going to stick with that replay as well, so a bit of value there. But best bet, Egyptian symbol, the money's there.
Yep.
Well, that's a look at leg 3 of the Quaddie, and to wrap it up, we're looking at the Lightning over the 1100, and look, a lot of usual suspects in this race, but we've got to look right down the bottom of the form guide to see one of Bryce Hayes' there in Spieth, and 6 horses in his stable, and a win here probably guarantees him a trip to Melbourne.
That would be so exciting for him, wouldn't it? It's such a small stable, such a talented horse. Let's look at the race conditions to see how this race sets up. Yet another good betting race on Saturday. There should be some money in this race and others. A lifted race, 1100 metres, fair tempo once again with a few going forward, fair bias hopefully, and a good track. So really fair racing on Saturday, which makes distance a key factor for us. Which ones can handle the sharp 1100 metres on a good track, position and run because of the big field, and scope. Like Stu mentioned before, there's a couple on the rise we have to factor in.
Yeah, well, look, as I said, Bryce Hayes, he's been so patient with this horse, hasn't he? And I guess having a look at the market, he's always going to be there. And there he is on top at 3.8. He has had some support as well, but let's see the transformation from a colt to a stallion, eh? And King Like in behind there at $5. Look, went to Melbourne up the straight last start, back to Randwick. The form lines might not say it's there, but it's had some decent stats. Kaepernick, $7. Ins and Out always tries hard at $9.50, and look at that, the big bulldog, that's a good idea, $17 into $13 as well. So a bit of money in behind, but yeah, 2 promising types at the top.
Yeah, you don't need to look at a replay to see what that's a good idea. He's going to do the big bulldog. He'll roll along on the lead and run well, but let's look at the talented up and coming types that we were talking about before. Let's start with Spieth out the back here, Stu. He didn't do too much this day, and King Like, a big run out in the lead in the lime green.
Yeah, look, that's King Like out in front, as you said, and there's horses outside here. The Japanas may obviously going a lot better in the autumn, but look, this is a good run from on pace, and as you said, let's talk about Spieth. What's he doing back there?
Well, he's a powerful sprinting type. This is 1200 metres, strong tempo, soft track, but he wasn't very strong there at the finish, wasn't he? This is the hardest race he's ever challenged him, and he wasn't very good there at all, was he?
No, definitely not. But we're going to also show one that, well, he probably went out of this race and thought he won like a good horse. We're going to take you back to May, and here's Spieth again in the same colours there in the yellow, just pushing out now, and this is where he really picked up well.
Well, yeah, this is the case you've got to make for Spieth. That was 1200 metres on a soft track, strong tempo. This is a fairer race, 1100 metre race on a firm track. Like we said, he's a powerful type, And you can see that power kicking in now. An amazing win. He went on to win the next start in Melbourne as well. Really showing he is a talented type despite that last start.
And very sparingly raced since then as well. But look, there's a look at two, I guess let's say, progressive types, and obviously scope's going to be a key factor here.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's lots of usual suspects. We use that word a lot here in terms of sprinting, the sprinting ranks, but Speed and Kinglike both have a bit of X factor. You have to factor in the possible improvement for those two horses. Lots of gold bars for distance there. The risk for Spieth might be he's drawn the inside, he gets back, he might get blocked. There's a few roughies just outside of him, so it's a bad draw for him. Kinglike gets the perfect draw.
Kinglike gets the perfect draw, and you know we've had a good look at a few of these replays here, and probably no surprise to see a couple of them on top. But I guess looking down the page there, we've got Boss Lane, loves Randwick, a bit of value, and ins and out, 10.5, only a bit in behind. Never won a Randwick 1100 metres.
No, he's never won 1100 metres all, has he? So he's a hard one to bet for the win, ins and out. He might be thereabouts, and like you said, Boss Lane loves Randwick, so he might be thereabouts as well. Kathy O'Hara hasn't ridden him that well lately, but we talked about the two horses with the scope. It might be all about choosing which of those horses you like best. The one we like best is Kinglike. You can forgive him first up. It was a strong tempo at Flemington. He just knocked up simply over the last 150 metres of that 1200 metre race. He's going to be really strong. And just in case Spieth does get locked up, for the value bet, let's put the perennial place getter ins and out in the exacta.
Always loves running a place, doesn't he?
He loves running a place.
Bit of confidence there behind Kinglike and a bit of the Arrowfield sprint form holding up there. Well, look, that's a look at the quaddie. Let's try and wrap it up now and get the punters home. And look, we're going to start with Janoob, Sensification and Allegria.
Yeah, this is a pretty even number of horses right across the day for the quaddie, isn't it? We've been so close the last few weeks. Hopefully this is the week. The three 2400 metre types to kick us off. Across to race 7. Let's leave out the favourite from barrier 11 with Christian Reith. Let's put in the two classier colts, the 3 fillies down the bottom. Race 8, we think Egyptian Symbol will win, but Artistry and Kimberley Star, those odds are just so good, we have to put them in. And there's the showdown in race 9, Kinglike versus Spieth. We like Kinglike, but just put Spieth in just in case. Well,
look, there's some good bets in there, but there's also some value, and that's the main thing for the quaddie. But look, it's a great look at Randwick this weekend. Caulfield Cup, obviously the boys have been very busy this week. We've got a lot of race guides online tomorrow from 9 a.m. at theraceguide.com.au. But look, it's going to be a fantastic day out there at headquarters tomorrow, and good luck to all your punting at Randwick and Caulfield this weekend. And we'll see you again next week.
Cheers.